This is how to draw a pyramid of energy, and the data for the pyramid of energy comes from a table like the table you can see on this graph, which shows 4 trophic levels and the energy in kilojoules per meter squared per year. The first difficult thing to do is to work out the scale so you can draw the graph to fit it onto the paper. In this graph we're going to have 4 trophic levels, so we need to have 4 bars, one on top of the other, and the largest of those bars is going to be 20,800 kilojoules across. So we've got plenty of space for the 4 bars. And how many squares do we have going across? That's not quite enough to be able to have 1 centimetre for 1000, but it's fine for 1 centimetre equals 2000. So the scale 1 centimetre equals 2000 kilojoules per metre squared per year. Now we have to work out the width of each of the bars which we're going to draw on the graph using this scale. And this we do by simply dividing the number in the table by 2000. So 316 divided by 2000 is 0.1 to 1 decimal place. 1890 is 0.9, 8800 is 4.4, and 20,800 is 10.4. So this gives us the width of each of the bars in the graph. The next difficult thing to do is to work out where to begin drawing the graph. You don't want to draw right from the bottom of the paper, so it's good to start, if you can, a couple of lines above, and you want to start from the very centre of the piece of paper. And each of the bars will have 2 centimetres of height, so you can see the dots for the 4 bars. The first bar we're going to draw is the producers, and this needs to be 10.4 centimetres across, which is going to be 5.2 on the left and 5.2 on the right of the centre point which we've just identified. So mark the corners, and then with a ruler complete the bar, the rectangular shaped bar. Then we can label the bar producers. The second bar we've got to do is the one above, the primary consumers. This should be 4.4 centimetres in length. That's 2.2 on the left and 2.2 on the right. And again we use a ruler to complete the bars. And label it as we did with the producers, primary consumers. The third bar is getting smaller. 0.9 centimetres is going to be 0.45 on each side of the midpoint. And as our graph paper only has 5 squares for 1 centimetre, that's going to be 2 squares either side. It's very often the case in a pyramid of energy that the top tertiary consumer has a bar which is so thin it's really difficult to draw precisely, but a single vertical line usually is enough to illustrate that that's going to be a thin line, which would have been 1/4 of a square each side of the midpoint. And we label that, add a title to the diagram, and don't forget the scale. We need to write the scale on the diagram, on the graph as well as the table. And there's your pyramid of energy. I've just noticed one thing which was wrong with my pyramid of energy. If we look at the left hand side of the producers bar, it's not quite long enough. I've actually miscounted, and what I should have counted 5.2 boxes from the midpoint to the left. I've actually counted 4.2. The real position for the end of that bar should be another centimetre to the left here on the corner. So it's perfectly okay to correct a mistake like this, even in an exam, and redraw the edge of the bar so that it's in the right place. And there's your pyramid of energy.